Shalom. Time now is 07:20 hours on this so-called Wednesday, February the 25th, 2026. And I'm not sure what Hebraic day that we're in because I'm sitting pretty much in darkness on this morning, going through my morning ritual. But a thought just came to me, and I wanted to immediately record it, as this recording device, this audio recording device, was within arm's reach of where I'm sitting right now. So just received. I'm not gonna say it. It was a vision because I got understanding, a deeper understanding of it, as I had previously held. So let me go ahead and set this up. I'm sitting in my kitchen, like I said, on my throne, doing my normal morning ritual. I was up this morning at probably about 04:30, and I began this thing. This is my quiet time. I get a lot done, and I can also open the blinds up and look out beyond the four windows outside, and I can see, silhouettes basically, but as the sun rises, I can see the actual daylight coming, starting, the dawning of a new day, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing to experience. So I try to do this as often as possible, and today happened to be one of those mornings where I'm doing my thing, and this vision hit me as I am listening to, also on YouTube, Covenant Awakenings, and the title of Brother Karas's presentation is "When the Delusions Ends." But nonetheless, I was kind of half-heartedly listening to what was being presented, and then I was thinking and speaking out loud to myself, processing, the vision that I was seeing. And here it is. This is how I arrived at this particular vision. Maybe something was said by Brother Karas to get me thinking, on this path. But basically, it was the fact that we, as Hebrew Israelites, are in the closet, as to who we are, our true identities. But some are waking up. But for the most part, we are dead. And what came to me is that unless we wake up and we follow all of the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Yeah, this is what triggered this thought. It's coming to me now. Brother Karas says something about, we as a people are waking up in the diaspora, and automatically I thought to myself, yeah, it's going to take more than just waking up. You are going to have to commit. You're going to have to make a vow to the Most High Abba through a vow offering, promising the Most High Abba. It's a covenant. It's the new covenant. You're promising the Most High Abba that you will follow His laws, statutes, and commandments and judgments. So what prompted this thought is that not all of us are going to get that awakening now. And some are going to continually, especially if they have passed away, and if they are resting in the underworld, in Sheol, and their soul is resting in one of those four cavernous chambers that the Book of Enoch explains, where our souls go when they leave the physical body. So, in essence, there are two righteous places that you want your soul to go, and then there are two unrighteous spaces, unrighteous chambers that you do not want your soul to go into when it leaves your body. And the first two chambers, if you will, the way I understand it according to the Book of Enoch, which is a very venerated book, and I recommend everyone to read and understand and to ask the Most High Abba to allow the Holy Spirit of wisdom to rest with you so that you may see those deep, dark sayings and understand them. Those deep, dark parables that are all throughout the 5 different sections of the Book of Enoch, the first book of Enoch. But as Enoch explains, those first 2 chambers perhaps are righteous chambers. They are righteous chambers, Salakia. There is no perhaps about that. If you will, think of Abraham's bosom, where we go to rest, our souls go to rest. That's one of the chambers. That would be considered chamber 2, the righteous chamber that our souls go to, waiting until the resurrection, because that's going to be important. I'm going to touch on the 2 resurrections regarding this, and this will kind of close out this vision. But the other 2 chambers that are in the underworld, in Sheol, chamber number 3 specifically is titled Dudiel. And this is where all of the unrighteous, wicked souls go to wait in contempt until they are judged, until all of the souls in that chamber, those 4 chambers, are judged by the first judge, and that will be Yahushua the Prince, our king priest. So in understanding the whole vision, that, and I'll talk about this 4th chamber just in case, the way, before I go forward, the way I understand the 4th chamber to be is a place where souls are held, that people who are still alive, living in righteousness, who are praying for their fallen kinsmen, their fallen kinswomen, who may have not lived a altogether righteous lifestyle, and their reward, if you will, their punishment, if you will, is based on someone praying that their wickedness, their trespasses, their sins be blotted out, for them to get that favorable nod. This is how I understand that 4th chamber to be. And I didn't mention the first chamber, but that would be the chamber where souls that are resting in chamber number 2, that righteous chamber. This is where those righteous saints who have died in the covenants, whatever covenant they were in during whatever dispensation of time that they lived in, if they were honorable in keeping that covenant, they are resting peacefully in that chamber, waiting for that first judgment, because somewhere in Yahushua the Prince, my king priest, somewhere in his kingdom, which will be coming really, really soon, as I have calculated it, we are within 4 to 7 years for our king priest, Yahushua the Prince, to return. And somewhere, well, during his return, we know that he is going to judge those who are asleep first, those who are dead first, those souls who are resting in the underworld, in Sheol, those souls that are resting in one of those 4 cavernous places where the souls will be resting. So my king priest will judge them first. And here's the vision that I got. Those that are found righteous, like all of our forefathers, like Adam, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, all of that righteous lineage, that seed, that righteous seed, those who have died, and others like them who, again, were worthy in keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High Abba. Those souls will somewhere be in the kingdom that the king priest is going to usher into this earth, that first resurrection. They will be situated somewhere in that kingdom, working, honoring, and glorifying the Most High Abba through worship. And we have to understand that those souls that are resting in the third and fourth chambers, they may not be able to find rest, and they will have to stay in those chambers until that next great and final judgment that's to be done. And that's through Abba Yahweh himself, that great white throne judgment. So in essence, those souls that do not make it in that first resurrection, they will have to continually stay in their torment until that second resurrection. And if their souls are still found to be not in compliance, because there will be many, like the fallen watchers, for instance, the fallen angels and their offspring, and like Amalek and his offspring. And there are others, but their souls will then be judged by Abba Yahweh himself, and they will be thrown in the abyss for their soul to be totally eviscerated, wiped out, uprooted. And anything that they had done while alive, that whole memory of it and his offspring will be also uprooted and blotted out. There will be no history of him. It will be as if his line never existed. That's the final punishment that the Most High Abba, our Father in heaven, will exact upon those wicked souls. But on the contrary, during that first resurrection of the Most High Abba, when he sends his son, my king priest, to judge and to rule in righteousness, those souls that are alive still when this happens, they will be called up after Yahushua the Prince judges those that are in the underground. And at the same time, this is going to happen within a twinkling of an eye. Those righteous souls that are still alive on this earth, when my king priest returns, they will be called up in the sky as our king priest is descending from the heavens. Those righteous souls still alive on earth will ascend into the heavens towards Yahushua the priest, meeting him mid-air and receiving whatever righteous body they will have serving somewhere in that kingdom that's to come for 1,000 years. And after that 1,000 years is over, this is when the Most High Abba himself will then usher in that second resurrection. And for those souls who get that favorable nod in that second resurrection, they will be resurrected in righteousness, and they will be working somewhere in that kingdom of heaven. And the Most High Abba will himself dwell among his children after that second resurrection here on this new earth. So that's the vision and the completion of it that I had received of this vision and of this understanding. I didn't have that understanding as I do now prior to this morning. And I want to get the Hebraic date before I close this particular recording out, so bear with me as I try to find my Hebraic calendar. Slovakia. Bear with me, I need to know what the Hebraic date is anyway. And I normally reference it at least once a day, and that's to figure out what time the sun will set, especially prior to the Shabbat, going into a week of Shabbat. Okay, I hear some geese out there cackling, if that's what geese do. So I found it. Let's look right quick. Today's date is so-called Wednesday, February the 25th, 2026. Ooh, but I know it to be the 15th day of the 12th month. And today's date, I know I should have been looking at my calendar, but today's date, it's a Memorial Day. And in fact, starting on the 23rd day of the 12th month through the 25th day of the 12th month, we have a couple of memorials that we need to remember and think upon. The first one being the Memorial Day of the victory that the Maccabean brothers or family had. So that would have been on the 23rd day of the 12th month. And following that, the next 2 days is a Memorial Day, or are Memorial Days, Salakia. And they are Purim, or Mordecai's Day. So I think this was the time during the Medes Persian kingdom under King Artaxerxes, I believe, and Esther. Esther was a wife of the king Artaxerxes, and Mordecai was Esther's uncle. So perhaps these 2 days we'll be remembering how Esther was able to speak on behalf of her people and to save her people from the evilness of the hands of, I think his name was Haman. I think he was an Edomite as well. But I am going to remember these 2 events. I'll sometime, hopefully today, throughout my day, reflect on the Maccabeus Victory Day, which was the 23rd of the 12th month, and even today, reflecting on Purim and the date known as Mordecai's Day. So The sun sets tonight at 19:01 hours. So if I can get all of that in before sunset, I will be doing good. It's not a high holy day. These are just Memorial Days. And on some of those Memorial Days, we are supposed to fast. A physical fast, a spiritual fast. But I don't think it's these two. I'll double check and make sure. But yeah, today's date is the 15th day of the 12th month. And we are in the year 5996, as I have chronicled time using the Book of Enoch, using the Book of Jubilees, using the Holy Spirit of wisdom, her guidance in giving me the understanding of this information and this knowledge that I am getting. All praises to Abba Yahweh. Hallelujah. It is in your Son's name, Yahushua, the Prince, I pray, so be it. And also in the last 3.5 years, I would say I have been primarily working the Hebraic calendar that I've come up with, tweaking it year by year as I observe it and understand it more accurately. I like to actually live through these monumental times in a year. We're about to come up on the vernal equinox, and that will start our new Hebraic year. In about 15 days, we'll be starting all over again. So at the vernal equinox, this is the time when we can go outside and look up at the sky to see and to measure how long a day is and how long a night is, based on the amount of daylight you experience in a day. That will determine it will help you to determine where to start counting on your Hebraic calendar. So we know that during the vernal equinox, we should have equal part day and equal part night. So in essence, in our 24 hours time cycle, we will have 12 hours of daylight, 12 hours of night or moonlight. Thus, helping you if you are following the other precepts as it relates to marking and reckoning time. This gives you an idea when to start your calendar, your Hebraic calendar. And over the years, I must say that I've tweaked it, no more than a week, difference, from year to year. I've kind of, this time, I am going to really be outside come this vernal equinox with a better way to measure time. And to record it, through video if I can. One year I went out to one of the highest points in Little Rock, Arkansas. It is a place called Pinnacle Mountain. And I stood up there and I watched the sunset, and I kind of gauged it based off of what time it had been projected to set, and everything was pretty much on point. I took some beautiful sunset pictures as well. So I'll do something like that again, perhaps this go around, so that I can, confirm exactly, because you want to be accurate on your days, because if you're not, then you won't be timely. You'll be late. You might be too early coming to the Most High Abba, thinking that you're celebrating a high holy day, and you didn't, and you're not, because you didn't calculate the time correctly. And I don't know how the Most High Abba will look at that, perhaps, but he tells us to come in Him in spirit and in truth and in due season. So we don't want to be late. We don't want to be early. We want to be right there on time. I'm willing, so I'll be able to further tweak my calendar. And I have to say and give praises to the Most High Abba for allowing me the spirit of wisdom, for allowing the spirit of wisdom to dwell within me, my temple. Because there's no way I would have gotten this understanding any other way. For the book of Enoch, the reckoning of time, this is a very complex process. If you're not filled with the spirit of holy wisdom, if you're not filled with the holy wisdom of spirit, and there are many out there, with their calendars. In fact, I got my start off of many people, including the biggest start of understanding Enoch in the calendar was through the House of Wisdom. And I give them all kinds of credit with their calendar. I have become the master in their calendar. I am confidently and boldly saying their calendars are wrong. But nonetheless, and I've corrected them, I don't know, up until now they have not received my rebuke of their placement of time using their calendar. But nonetheless, I was definitely schooled on the calendar through them, as well as other important matters regarding Scripture and prophecy. But those brothers, they have a doctrine that they're following, like most people out there. And I just couldn't get with that doctrine. And they couldn't explain to me their doctrine as I was bringing forth other supporting scriptural, doctrinal stuff that would have refuted theirs. They didn't listen to. And it's okay, because the same thing happened when I was in the church. I went to my pastor after I had learned some things about this Hebrew Israelite movement. This was early on in my beginnings. And this would have been June, July, August time frame in the year of 2020. But my pastor, he couldn't or he wouldn't, answer simple questions that I was giving him. So I realized that, that's an organization, that's a business, he has a certain doctrine to follow, and that doctrine was just wrong. And I come up out of that church then, but I come out of church after 40 years being in the church. And so that began my journey. And I must say, up to this point, and I will repeat the time and date because I'm about to close this out. Time now is 07:49. 100 hours on this so-called, and I say 07:49, but the world right now thinks it's 06:49 hours because they follow that daylight savings time madness, and I don't. I keep my clock continuous throughout the 364 days in a calendar year. Not 365 days or 363 days. The book of Enoch tells us that there are 364 days. And 4 of those days are intercalated. One of them, the vernal equinox, we're about to come up on in about 15 days. And then we have the other equinox, which is 6 months later. 3 months after the vernal equinox, we go into the summer's solstice. And on the other side, we go into the winter's solstice. Those 4 intercalated days. We could visually go outside. We should be able to go outside into time, how much sunlight, how much daylight we have, how much nighttime we have. Determine that ratio. Salakia. And in doing so, we can not to great specificity or detail, but we can definitely find out what season we're in by doing those countings and by observing, the ratio between day and night. We'll get a pretty good ballpark figure as to where we are in a season. So today's date again is the 15th day of the 12th month. And we are in the year 5996. So come that first day of the new year, we'll begin our new year 5997. And at that point, we'll be like 3 years away from Yahushua the Prince's return, or up to maybe 6 years. We will be in that tight shot group, if you will. This is what the marksmanship training in the U.S. Army taught me. Before I can pick up a weapon and fire it accurately and hit my target, I must first zero my weapon. And that is, you can pick up any weapon, do a quick zero on it so that you fit it to you and your body and your specific bodily characteristics, and you should be able to hit a target center mass every time. So you first have to establish a very tight shot group. 3 shots. You shoot that weapon 3 times at a target center mass, and wherever those 3 rounds land, draw a circle around it. And if that circle is real small, you know that your weapon is pretty much zero. And it'll be perfectly zero if you can hit the target 3 times in the same hole. But that's not likely. That's why if you get it within a 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 inch radius even, hit your 3 shots within a 5 inch radius, you're likely to hit the target. Maybe not center mass, but you are likely, when firing that weapon, to hit that target because that weapon has been zeroed in. So as we are zeroing in on these last days, I am saying we have a 3 year to 6 year window. 3 to 6 year shot group. So time is very critical for people to wake up and to decide, for their souls, not for anybody else, because nobody else can save you but you. So let your will be done on that Abba Yahweh. Hallelujah. It is in your Son's name, Yahushua the Prince, I pray. So be it. Until next time, peace.